Everybody. Good Chodesh, Mar Cheshvan, and here we are. Good to see everybody back, Baruch Hashem, including the Korea veteran. Okay, we have here, we have a chart today. See this thing in the back? It's a chart. Bav Metzia, Daf Chaf Zayin Amud Aleph. I would go from the two dots. We saw it yesterday. This shir is Le'ilu Nishmas Estabas Mordechai. Shom Shnev Eliyah. Le'ilu Nishmas Tovi Moir Menachem Melakiva. Le'ilu Nishmas Bas Moshe Ruth Bas Shalom Lofua Simim Moros Nechama Bas Chana Mala Norman Koler Bas Tom Shmuel Avram Ben Yehudis Bas Rivka Pnina Chaya Bas Yola Rochel. Reuven Yaakov Ben Golda Esther Gabriela Bat Tzora Chana Bat Sima Tamar Bas Novi Bela Zislin Bar Bat Yel Tzvi Yosef Ben Denis Shalom Yosef Ben Inda Yaakov Ephraim Ben Tzora. Okay, let's go already. Are we recorded? No, yeah, we are. Okay, says the Gemara Ton Rabanan, the two dots which are before the end of the narrow lines. Yeah, as we get to the end of the narrow lines, but not yet, we have two dots. The line starts with the word love. Yeah, all you need is love. Yeah, Ton Rabanan, Asher Toivad. Yeah, it says in the Torah, Asher toivad mimena umetzaoso. What's asher toivad? Asher toivad, in other words, you have to give back an aveda which got lost. Of course it got lost. The Torah just told me it's an aveda. The Torah doesn't just, spend extra words, redundant words. Comes the Bryce and tells me, prat, that comes to exclude and take out of the chiyuv, al aveda she'en b'shove puta. An aveda that has no shve puta, an aveda that does not have in it, is not valuable enough, it's worth less than a pruta. Pruta is a very small amount of money, is the minimal amount of money in halacha. If it's worth less than that, you don't have to return. Now, one may ask a question, well, of course, what's the chiddush? Obviously, everything in halacha, if it's not shve pruta, regarding, you're not allowed to steal it, but for everything else, it's not considered as money. But Tosfos says, the very last Tosfos, very last Tosfos in the page, if you want, you can see it inside. It's a tiny Tosfos, the very last one. Tosfos says, one would have thought that maybe when it comes to Aveda, you have to return even less than Shve Pruta. You saw like two breadcrumbs in the street. Maybe you have to return them. Go crazy. Why? Because it says, Kol Aveda Sachicha. Any lost object you have to give back. Maybe any lost object comes to tell me even the one that's less than Shve Pruta, as opposed to all other areas in the Torah. Maybe the Torah here is saying Kol Aveda Sachicha is more machmir, even less than Shve Pruta. Comes the Torah and says no, Toivad, something that doesn't have a Shve Pruta is not called that you lost it. It's not considered as a lost item because it has no value. That's what Tanakama says. Yeah, in the chart, Tanakama. Okay, so Tanakama, how do you know that less than Pruta you don't have to return? Less than a Pruta, how do you know that you don't have to return? Says Tanakama, because it says Toivad. Yeah, that's not called being lost. Okay, that's Tanakama. That's Tanakama over here. I'll put it here so the people online can see. This is Tanakama, Toivad. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Omer umetzoso. Rabbi Yehuda learns exactly the same halacha from a different part of the pasuk, from a different word. Umetzoso, that you found it, also an extra word. Prat la'aveda shen b'shve pruta. It says in the Torah, umetzoso, if you find it, if you found something that's less than shve pruta, it's not called finding it, because you didn't find anything valuable. It's not called as finding anything, says Rabbi Yehuda, and that's why you don't have to return something less than shve pruta. My benayu. The Gemara asks, what's the halachic practical difference between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda? At the end of the day, they both learn it from different places, but they all say the same thing, that less than shve pruta, you don't have to return. Answers the Gemara, Omar Abaye, it's Machlokes Abaye and Rava. Here we get Rabbi's opinion. There's only an academic difference between them. How do you learn the Torah? That's all. From where in the Torah you learn the same thing. Mar nafkel asher toivad. Tanakama learns it from the pasuk asher toivad, that you lose it, he lost it, and less than shve pruta, it's not called a loss. Mar nafkel also, and Rabbi Yehuda learns it from, it's also from another pasuk, another word in the pasuk. Metzoso, you didn't find it if it's less than shve pruta. Now starts the game. Frag the Gemara. According to Chachamim, they learn it from the pasuk Asher Toivad. What do they do with the word mitzvah? Meaning, according to them, why did the Torah write the extra word? You found it. Of course, you found it. Otherwise, how would you be able to return it? By nevuah, Wi-Fi. Of course, you found it if you're in the question of returning or not. So, what did they learn with the seemingly extra word mitzvah? Ahu, that word, we have what to do with that word. We know what this word is used for. Or some say Ravina. It comes to tell me the halacha which we've seen before, quoting Ravnai or Ravina. Dama Ravnoi. Umetza'asa da'asoi liyodei mashma. Which means, Metza'asa means, if an Aveda, you tell me, does one have to give back Me'ikar Adin? Not if you want to do Kiddush Hashem. Me'ikar Adin. Do you have to return an Aveda of a good friend, Mackenzie, McKinley, Mahmoud, Abdul, Chun Chan Chun? No, you don't have to return the Aveda. Now the Torah says umetza'asa, only of your brother, something your brother left behind. Now mitza'asa comes to tell me that if you found it, took it to yourself, took it home, and then you found out you wanted to return, then you found out somehow through the grapevine this belongs to Tim Mackenzie. You don't have to return it to him. What's the chiddush? One would say that if Tim Mackenzie lost something and he met me in the office and he told me, I lost the item, I don't have to actively look for it. And if I find it, I don't have to give it back to him. I can just stay passive. That's what I would have thought. But maybe once it's in my hands, that's not nice already. Maybe at that point, I have to give it back to him, even though he's a goy. Kamash malan, even that you don't have to do. And that will learn Metzia also. The one you already found, Metzia also, that, okay. So even that you don't have to return. So that's lesson Shve Pruta. Yeah, in the computer, my chart is nicer. This is the Veda of a goy, the joy of life. According to Tanakama, they learned that from the word Umetzia also. Okay? They learned from Metzia also that in the Veda of a goy, even after reaching my hands, I don't have to return. That will learn from Umetzia also. Okay? Slowly, everything will be filled in. According to Rabbi Yehuda, which learns, this is Rabbi Yehuda over here. Yeah, this is Rabbi Yehuda. Here, I'll write for the Zoom people, Rabbi Yehuda in small. Yeah. According to Rabbi Yehuda over here, Hi Asher Toivad, my Ovidlei. What would he do with the Pasuk Asher Toivad? He from Metzia, he taught us what? Lesson Shve Pruta, don't have to return. What will we do with Asher Toivad? That Pasuk seems orphaned. What do you do with that? First Wadlan. Yeah, he's going to learn from that word. He's going to teach us, he believes the Torah teaches us, the halacha of Rabbi Yochanan, which we've seen many times. Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon quoting Rabbi Shimon Yochai says, how do you know that an Aveda that's washed away by the river, that's swept away, that's drifting off with the river and nobody around will find it? You live in one side of the river, the top of wherever that is, whichever river that, the Yarden. You live near the Golan, and the Yarden slowly and surely takes away your item. Nobody from your kibbutz in the Galil will find it. It's going to reach Yam HaMelech soon. So then, how do you know that it's mutar? Meaning, if I live on the other side of the river, I can take it, knowing it came from far away, because not only this person was miyash, it's a general aveda that nobody else can find. Yeah, and some Rishonim say even if he wasn't miyash, chiddush, even if he wasn't miyash, you still don't have to return it to him. Why? Because it's batel datat el kol adam. Normally, people when it's swept away, let's say it was taken by robbers that even the police can never catch, or things like that. It's a complete lost case. It's not his loss vis-a-vis the rest of the world. Everybody in the area is never going to get it. How do you know that it's allowed? And I don't have to return such an aveda? Because it says, "Ken ta'aseh l'chol aveda sachicha." So too you should do to any aveda of your brother, any lost item. Asher toivad mimenu umetza'oso. Toivad mimenu umetza'oso. Very good. You learn toivad mimenu if it's lost from him and you found it. Mishavuda himenu umetzuyetzel kolodom. If it's lost from him, but everybody else can find it, the guy lost something in Merkaz Mischari Beit Shemesh. He lost it. Many other people will find it. not going to Shimon Lazar. Generally, in Shul, he lost it. Everybody else can find it. It's not complete loss from the entire area. So that's what the Torah tells me. That kind of Aveda you have to return. Yotzto, excluding Zu Shavuda Himenu, the enemy kolodom. Very good. But something that was lost from him and is lost from the entire society in his area, from the whole environment, such a thing you don't have to return. And how does he know that? He knows that from the word, oh, here's a new halacha, swept by the river. Let's call it river. Yeah. Yeah, it's swept away by the river. It's a black hole. It's never irreversible. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that you learn the word toivad. Toivad mimeno, yeah, only if it's lost from him and not from other people. That's what the Torah had to write the word toivad. Okay, so far, and of course, right? We still have missing blanks. So far, each one found a job, so to speak, vacancy. Now we found a job for toivad umetzoso, the word lost and the word found. But the idach hader of noi mino lei. Now, according to this, how would Rabbi Yehuda know the halacha of Ravina? The halacha of Goy is mentioned by Ravina. Yeah, it's going to call the Ravina halacha, and this one of the river is Rabbi Yochanan. No, sorry, wrote Yonatan. Yeah, how? In other words, this is according to Rabbi Yehuda. This is blank. According to Rabbi Yehuda, how do you know this halacha? Right? Both vacancies are taken. Toivadu metzoso. But the halacha that you don't have to return to a goy, how would he know that you don't have to return to a goy? Says the Gemara. Yeah, minole. How does he know? Nafkalemi u metzaoso. U metzaoso, stressing the vav. He believes that the letter vav is of itself is an extra letter. Yeah, you could have written metzaoso, and yet the Kodesh Baruch Hu wrote u metzaoso. Says Rashi, u metzaoso says you already found it, and you have found it, which means it's already in your hands, and you realize it's Tim Mackenzie's. You don't have to return. That's u metzaoso. Now, what's the other hole that we have to fill in? This one. The idach, which means, according to Tanakama, Rabbi Yochanan minole, how do they know the halacha of Rabbi Yochanan? That if it's swept away, taken away by a black hole, the ocean took it, the tide, the high tide, robbers, how do you know that such a thing you never have to return, even if the guy didn't lose up hope, according to some? Nafkale mimenu. It says, Asher toivad mimenu, that it was lost from him. Toivad mimena umitzaoso. By the way, the real pasuk says, Asher toivad. I'm writing here the pasuk by the real order. It says Asher toivad mimeno, which was lost from him, umitzaoso, and you found it. That's the order of the pasuk. Asher toivad mimeno umitzaoso. It was lost from him, and you found it. Yeah, umitzaoso. So now, according to Tanakama, toivad and mimeno are separate words. Toivad means it should be worth at least a pruta, and mimeno means it was lost from him, only from him. But everybody else in the area can find it. Everybody else in Avat Shalom, everybody else in Merkaz Mesachari finds it, not if it was lost in the desert, in the storm, or something like that. Ve'idach, Rabbi Yehuda, what would he do with the word mimeno? He says, mimeno loy mashmalei. He doesn't believe that the word mimeno needs a special limud. Mimeno is just stylistic. Asher toivad mimeno. It was lost from him. Since the Torah says toivad, it says mimeno as well. That's Abaye. Up until now, Mazel Tov. That chart will emerge Hashem be sent to you today. I have a very busy day today, but I do hope to get to send you the chart. And the chart looks nicer when it's printed, yeah, when it's typed. But this is basically, each one has his makor for everything. That's Abaye. Ad kan Abaye. Now Rove. Rove argues with Abaye. Yeah, as many times they do. Rove Omar, Rove says like this. You're trying to figure out what's the difference between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda, right? Tanakama learns the lesson Shepruta from Toivad and Rabbi Yehuda from Umetzaoso. What's the practical difference between them? Says Abaye, no difference. Says Rava, there is a difference. Says Rava, there is a difference. I'm not, we're staying with the chart, yeah? Man de Omar Asher Toivad, sorry, Rava, Pruta Shehuz La'ika Beinayu. A Pruta that got cheaper, the devaluated is the difference between them, which means Yeah, let's say the person lost it on Sunday. We all know there are lots of fluctuations in the market. He found a ruble on Sunday before the war. Ruble, the money of Russia. Of course, used ruble. He found the ruble before the war. So then he found the ruble. How do you say ruble? Okay. He found a ruble before the before the marble before the war, and then after the war started, then no, somebody lost, yeah, the Russian currency before the war was worth something, but the guy who found it after it wasn't Shove Pruta anymore. Get it? In other words, there was a difference in price and value of the item that he found, yeah, but from the time of losing and the time of finding. Yeah, basically it went down. Exactly. So that's the difference between them. Why? Mando mamashor toivad ika. The one who learns it from a Veda that the Torah requires, and a Veda will be worth pruta. Then by the time of the loss, it was worth pruta, right? And therefore, even though now you found it, Mr. Finder, on let's say Monday after the war, and then what? It's not worth, you still have to return because we follow the time of the losing. The one who says that you find it, that by the time of the finding, that's a crucial moment, then you don't have to return. Because when you found it, it was less than Shvepruta. That would be very nice, right? You go by the losing moment or the finding moment. The Gemara is not happy with that. Because as opposed to Abaye, Rava is still stuck with the extra words. Metzaoso and Asher Toivad. So frag the Gemara, Leman Domar Asher Toivad, Habaina Meotzaoso Veleika. Even according to the one who says Asher Toivad, the word Metzaoso, according to Rava, is redundant. Rava doesn't agree with this, says Pnei Yoshua, so in the Meforshim. And therefore, the word Metzaoso should also indicate by the time of the Metzia, it has to be Shove Pruta. And says the Pnei Yoshua also misvaro. It makes sense, yeah, that an item has to be Shove Pruta, because if it's not called losing, it's not called finding either, right? In other words, it's not some magic word, it's logic. If you say less than Shove Pruta is not called losing, then it's not called finding either. What do you mean? You can't ignore half a pasuk. It has to be all the same. Beleka. Ela. So the Gemara is attempting something. Yeah, we're towards the end of Chavzayin Amud Aleph, when the fifth line from the bottom of the page. The Gemara is still trying another attempt, which will fail very soon. Maybe that would be the difference. When the guy lost it, yeah, he lost it when he was not worth anything. The grivni. Yeah, it's not worth much when he lost it. And later, when the other person found it, then the market went up and it's worth something. There'll be a difference between them, right? Madam or Metzoso Ika. The one who says you go by the time of finding, Metzoso, well, when you found it, it was worth something, so give it back, please. Madam Asher Toiva Adleika. The one who says if you lost it, it has to be worth, since at the time of losing, it was not worth anything, don't have to return. But again, the question, I'm not even sure the Gemara even goes into that, because the question repeats itself loud and clear. Same question. Even according to the one who says Metzaoso, it makes sense that if in the time of the Metzia it has to be worth something, so too at the time of Aveda, also it has to be worth something, because the words of the Torah are the same words. If when the Torah means losing, it means Shvepruta, then finding is also Shvepruta. The Torah is not talking here, in half sentences. The Torah must be consistent. Ella comes the Gemara with a genius answer. Actually, yeah, avoid the glare now. Ella says the Gemara like this. You know the difference between them? Pruta shehukra. The pruta on Sunday, the guy lost it on Sunday, it was worth a pruta or even more. The huzla on Monday, oi, what a fall, what a collapse of the stock market. Now that item is worth less than pruta. Not 11 agorot, only 8 agorot. Oi. So now it's worth less than pruta. When was that? On Monday? On Monday, nothing happened. On Monday, nobody lost, nobody found. Again, on Sunday, he lost it. It was worth pruta. Yeah. Monday, it went down. It plummeted. Oy, nothing happened. The item was still there somewhere. Nobody found it yet. The chazra v'hukra. On Tuesday, it got expensive again. Again, it gained value on Tuesday, right? And then what happens on Tuesday? Then Mr. Finder found it. So both the times of loss and time of finding, it was worth. But you see how the graph goes. Very easy graph, V-shaped. Yeah, right down and up again. Here's the finance guy. Yeah, so that would be a difference between them. Why would that be a difference between the two opinions? Tanakama that says toivad and a bit that says mitzvah. So here we get more meat over here. Says the Gemara, Man de Omar Shar toivad ika. The one who says that by the time of the loss, it has to be worth pruta. It was worth pruta by the time of the loss, and also in the time of the Metzia. Yeah, I put two and two together. By the time on Sunday when you lost it, worth pruta. On Tuesday when you found it, the other guy, worth pruta. Mazel tov, shidduch, give it back right now. However, Roman de Omer u'mitza'asa, the one who learns it from mitza'asa, that's a bit, here's a red herring. But Inan, he requires the is bashir Metzia, mishas aveda ve'ad sh'as Metzia. The one who says mitza'asa means it should maintain the value of pruta all the way until the Metzia. That's mitza'asa. Of course, things have to be shava pruta. The chiddush of mandamar mitza'asa is not at the time of Metzia. All the way until the time of Metzia, it maintains the value. Never lost the value. But if on Monday there was, nose diving of the market and then up, again, then I'm not mechuyev to give it back. And he follows the stock exchange, the inflation, deflation. In other words, he knows that by the time in between the interim was worth nothing, was worth less pruta, then that's what the Torah, according to Rabbi Yehuda, tells me, until the Metzia. That's a machloikis. That's a gezunta machloikis. The shenkel leman do'amar tanakama. It says a shotoivad. It means stam. The Veda has to be worth a pruta. When you lost it, when you found it, I don't care about all the changes in the middle. It doesn't have to go through and through. That's the difference between them. Beautiful. Yeah. Yes. Questions are. Yeah. Korea. We're not in North Korea. He's wearing a Korea hat. Okay. We're in South Korea. Okay. Last line of Chavzan Amud Aleph. Question that came in the Bes Medrash, which we touched already upon twice before. Here is the focus of the question. Here's the source. Ibai lehud, they, who's they? The Heilig Amiroim had a question. Simanim, the Raisa the Rabanan. When we say all the time simanim, somebody lost his baseball cap. Yeah, there's a siman on it, whatever, a little blue dove over here, something. Yeah, and I can return it to him because the siman is a good siman. Or muvak, not muvak. That's another discussion later. Let's say the siman is not the siman muvhak. It's not a very clear siman, but it's good enough, logical enough, beyond reasonable doubt enough that it belongs to that guy. And I return it to him upon simanim, without edim. Usually in the Torah, when you move money from one person to the other, you need edim, you need shtar, you need migo, you need stuff. Here's simanim. The fact that simanim are good enough of a raya, of a proof, is that something from the Torah? Does the Torah establish that? When the Torah spoke about a Shavas Aveda, did the Kodesh Baruch Hu have in mind simanim will be a way to return the Aveda, or the Rabanan, or maybe not? Maybe with the Oraisa you need edim. Maybe the Torah requires real edim. If you lost your baseball cap, you lost your thing, you have to bring edim. Not you lost it. You have to bring edim that it's yours. Yeah, right. Everybody knows this is my phone. Right, very nice. So if I lose the phone, Chalila, I'll bring two edim. Maybe that's what should have been. Yeah. I'll bring the Choshev Abiv, or bring our parents, Reb Shloime, to you also, everybody, bring edim that it's my phone, and only then I'll retrieve it from the finder. Maybe the whole idea of simanim is a kula de Rabanan. Rabanan wanted to facilitate us. They said, okay, you don't need edim, simanim are enough. But maybe at Torah level, maybe really you need more than simanim. Maybe not, or maybe the Torah is happy also with simanim. That's a question. Obviously, the question is now that follows is my nafkamina. Who cares? At the end of the day, we follow Chazal, and we all know that HBH, Hefker based in Hefker. You all know what that means. And Hefker based in Hefker means when it comes to money, Chazal and the great based in can do whatever they want regarding money. In other words, they can decide that your money belongs to this nice bacher over here, obviously within reason, and every reason for it. Only the big chachamim, not every Rav can do that. But Chazal, I'm talking the real Chazal, the ones from the Gemara, they can decide when it comes to money that even though that baseball cap maybe does belong to the one who lost, they decided it's good enough. They can move things around when it comes to money. So at the end of the day, my nafkamina. So who cares whether the real source is the Raisa, real source the Rabbanon? We're not open Orthodox. We follow Rabanan, right? So at the end of the day, what's the problem? At the end of the day, it's the same thing. Answers the Gemara. Answers the Gemara. I'll tell you what the difference is. Lamaisa, Ladur get Isha besimonim. Ay, 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 ay. There's one. Remember the last sugya from the end of the first parak? Let's say a person is a shliach. He is a messenger, a shliach from the husband to the wife. Husband lives in Bava Park, and the wife lives now in Bnei Brak, and they don't want to see each other from some odd reason. I don't know why. So now the husband from Bava Park sends the get with the shliach. Now the shliach has it in his house. The shliach is going to Eretz Yisrael, and he's going to land in a bag in a week. Meanwhile, the shliach has the get that Yoel is sending a Rivka. He's sending it. He has it in his house. And meanwhile, now, and he lost it. Okay, he lost it. I found it. I found a get, and I want to give it back to the shliach. How do you know it belongs to the shliach? Simon. The shliach tells me it's a bit crumpled on the left-hand side. Remember we said, there's a nekev, there's like a perforation there somewhere. And can I return it by simanim without edim? But friends, here we're not talking about money. We're talking about the terrible, strong isur of eshes ish. But the truth is, even other isurim, it's not about money. It's about isurim. It's about benodom lamakoim. It's yoredea. It's not about chosh and mishpat. It's not about monetary things. And here comes the Gemara and speaks it out. If we say simanim are good enough from the Torah, then eshes ish is like money. In the level of the Torah, it's all the same. Yeah, the Torah is the one who says simanim is enough. If that shliach tells me, the finder, that there's a perforation next to the tzad soifis, I have to give it back to him. Of course, the Amud the Rabanan. But if you say that the invention, so to speak, of simanim is only the Rabanan, it comes to isurim. Rabanan step back. Ki over the Rabanan takanta, when Rabanan can establish their takana, their laws of the Rabanan b'mamayna, they're allowed to touch and play around and manipulate halachas regarding money. If it's a nice baseball cap or even $1 million, Chachamim have the right to move things around, and they decide simanim are enough. Aval be'isura, my friend, this is eshes ish, honey. Be'isura, we're talking here about isul the oraisa. They don't have the ability to be mitaken and lower the bar of the oraisa. If really all you need is edim, yeah, for a shavas aveda, so regular money things, it can change things around and lower the bar. But if the involvement, if something of Easter is involved, not only eshes, by the way, it could also be treif, all things to do with ben adam lamakom. The Chachamim don't have the right to change that and be more makel than the Torah. So that would be a whopping nafkamina. If he found an eshes get, you return it or not. Besimanim the Raisa, yes. The Rabanan, no. Toshma, okay. Now we're trying to figure it out. Toshma. Well, we saw it in our Mishnah. The Mishnah we saw yesterday in Amud Aleph gives us the answer. It says outright in the Mishnah, remember, we said that there were 4 items mentioned in the Torah. One of them is a garment. It was included in the word the kol aveda sachicha. The lama yotzos. Why did the Torah exclude and not exclude? Why did the Torah detail? Why did the Torah elaborate and mention a garment? Stam another example. Lehaki shalea, to compare all other avedas to the garment. The lomer to tell you. Simla, a garment, has 2 unique, not very unique, but rather unique qualities. The simanim, regularly a garment, that's before the Industrial Revolution, every garment was different. Even today, most garments are a bit different. Once you wear it, there's a stain over here, a crease over there, some kind of something, yeah. So then a simla usually has simanim, the yeshla toivin, and there are people who demand it, meaning it's not hefker, it didn't grow on the tree. Somebody produced it, somebody bought it, chayv la'achriz, and only then you have to return and renounce. I've called up a sheshlu simanim v'yeshla toivin chayv la'achriz. Wait a second. So we mentioned 2 things. All other items that are similar to a garment that have simanim and have somebody looking for them as opposed to yush, yeah, somebody's not miyash, you have to return. Well, you see, no. So you see mefurish, one of the 2 items that the Torah mentioned, simla, is what? If simanim. See, simanim from the Torah. Mefurish, what's the machlekes? Answers the Gemara, no. One would have said, Anna, the Brisa, actually the Mishnah, toivin itzrichale. Maybe the main part, the main drasha is toivin. Toivin is to say people who claim it back and want it. Only if there's somebody in the other line who is interested in getting it back, you have to return, as opposed to Yush. You don't have to give back after Yush. But simanim, the reason when the Mishnah mentions simanim, kedei nasva. Wow. Sometimes the word simanim or other words in the Mishnah are mentioned by the way. Arkilu, taking a ride on the bandwagon. In other words, maybe the words simanim are not there befurish to tell me that the Torah requires simanim. The Torah requires toivim, that somebody should want it. But simanim, no, maybe it means edim. Simanim, edim, it means there's some kind of identification, but don't harp on the word simanim and tell me that's a proof. So we don't have a proof from that. So Shma, let's go back again to what we learned yesterday. Chamoir b'simonei ukaf. Remember? We said that a donkey has a chiddush. Why did the Torah speak out and detail Mr. Donkey? B'simonei ukaf. To tell me that even though the person who lost it claims to be the owner, comes and tells me identification marks in the saddle, not the donkey itself, and the saddle is not the donkey, yeah, it's likely that they came together, but maybe no, maybe lent it, maybe something. Yeah, still the simanim of the ukaf, while worn by the donkey, is also good for the donkey himself, and I'll give him back the donkey too. Oh, but you see one thing, simani, hey, it says simanim. It says that if I give simanim to the ukaf, that's good enough, and I don't need edim. Oh, here you are. Sorry, asking me simanim or edim. Yeah, look, it says in the Torah chamo, and the Torah comes to tell me chamo for the ukaf, and if you gave simanim of the ukaf, no, so simanim are good enough. So the Gemara, no. Ema, you could learn the brisa in a different version. The eidei ukaf, maybe simanim is lavdafka simanim. He talks about the test, the witnesses of the ukaf. Really, the brisa didn't talk about simanim or edim. The chiddush of the brisa was that even though I identify the saddle and not the chamor, they all look the same. I only identified the ukaf, then I can also get the chamor, which I claim is also mine. But it doesn't mean to say simanim daf. It could be edim, which means the Torah would require that when I want to retrieve my chamor and the saddle, I have to bring two edim, two Jewish people with long white beards. Yeah. And what? And they would identify, and they would say that the ukaf belongs to me. But simanim still remains in a question. We're still in the comfort zone of a question, not knowing whether simanim is the rice or the Rabanan. We did not yet manage to find a source from the Torah. Toshma, another brisa which we haven't seen yet, and that would appear later. Yeah, that would appear in Daf Kafches. Yeah, and that is like that. The hoya imcha and the roish achicha isoi. We just quoted the pasuk in the Torah. It should be with you. What should be with you? The lost item, the aveda, should stay in your house until your brother doresh. What's the doresh? Demands. Until your brother, which means another Jew, until he demands it, then you give it back to him. Frag the brisa. You think he'll give it back to him before he even demanded it? Are you a prophet? Of course, only if he demands it, if he claims it, give it back to him. Yeah, I put him on yesterday. I put him on actually. I'm in the spirit of yesterday night. Somebody switched his talis with my talis. So I want to do a Shavas Aveda and also to get my talis back. Yeah, it was a Sephardi talis. So yeah, I put a moda'ah. A moda'ah is a notice on the notice board. Talis switch, talis swap. Please call Akiva. Yeah, but if the guy doesn't call me, how do I know who he is? I'm not a prophet. Well not. So Mimela, yeah, of course. What does the Torah have to tell me? Ad doi shachicha. Yeah, but no chiddush. Ella explains the brisa. Doi shachicha doesn't mean he demands from you. You demand, so to speak, of him. Doshehu im ramayu or eno ramai. You have to be doresh. You have to demand. You have to find out whether he's a liar or not a liar, whether he's a cheater, whether he's whether he's a ramai, a schwindler, not a schwindler, and only then you have to return. Which means the chiddush is that's a chiddush. Don't say this aveda was by me for a long time. I put posts on the internet and shul here and there. Oh, somebody came and asked me. Let's give it to him. I would say he's making some very weak case for himself. Says the Gemara, no. You have to demand and find out that the guy's not a Ramai. Some say only if he's known to be a Ramai. Some say no, we'll discuss that later. So what do you see? My love, the simanim. The assumption is, how would I know if he's a Ramai or not? I'll ask the police for for to that Yosef for you know, for some kind of, how do you call it in English? What? Yeah, like no, that no, to prove that the guy's an honest person, everything is wrong. Yeah. So yeah, what? How would I know? By simanim, of course. When the Torah says you have to demand and find out whether the guy's a liar or not a liar, as for simanim, oh, so you see that the Torah, for the Torah, simanim are good enough, and it's not only a rabbinical invention. Says the Gemara again, lo be'edim. How do you know? No, not true. Maybe the Torah requires that this Mr. Schwindler or potential Schwindler, I don't know the guy, maybe should bring two edim with him, and only then I'll give him back the item. I don't know for sure that for the Torah, simanim are enough. Maybe the Torah requires edim, and Rabanan lowered the bar for simanim, and by get of woman that wouldn't work. Toshma. Here we talk about another very different subject that is also to do with us, and that's a sad story of women who are agunois. Lolen, a guy went to war. Or lehavdil, not for mitzvah of a war. He went to a trip in Thailand, and what happened then? He died. Oy, 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 oy. But we can't identify the guy so well. His wife is a young or not so young almana, yeah, and she's, I don't know, she's an almana. Why? Because his friends from the army or from the trek in Thailand, they saw the guy and they claimed that they didn't find the body at the beginning. Eventually, the friends come and they found the body and they say, oh, that's the body of our friend. Now we're going to tell his wife that she can remarry someone. Okay, that is a very, very complicated subject. Again, it's an eshes ish. It's not a joke. So let's see what the Gemara has to say, quoting the end of Yevomis. Oh, those who did the Yomi. Ein meidin ela al partzuf aponim imachoitem. When the two edim come to Beis Din, this is not stam monkey business, Beis Din. When they come to Beis Din to testify that they saw Mr. supposedly dead guy in order to allow his wife to marry, and they identify and they come to Beis Din be made that it's him, they can only be made mamish on the face. In other words, these are people that have to know him, and they have to say, we saw his very face with the nose. Not if the nose was chas v'shalom, laughing. Let's say the nose was, you're in the army, let's say the nose was chopped off or something, or I don't know, a rodent ate it in Thailand, I don't know. So that's not good enough. Only if you see his face, the entire face, only then they can say that's a real man. Only if they identified him well, mamish the face. As opposed to, even though the guy may have, let's say the face was chalila, not funny, the face was distorted, or there was beheaded, eaten up the head, but in his body, I can identify something in his body. Or in Kalev, meaning in his the way he dresses, I can see, oh, that T-shirt with that name of a singer, that exactly, that particular one with the stain in the corner, that does not help. No. If the friends come from a trek in Thailand and they say, what? We saw the body after 2 days of searching, we saw the body without the head, or the head is not identified, but we saw that that's his shirt, or we saw some, maybe even birthmark on his body. Ooh, birthmark on his left elbow. That is not good enough, and they cannot allow his wife to marry upon that. Ooh, shmamino. That is to say, and that seems to be a smashing proof. Mashma what? Simonim lavdo Isa. From here we see clearly that simonim are not from the Torah, right? Because here we talk about eshes ish, which is not a monetary issue. It's an isser, a very severe one, by the way. Now, simonim, you see, don't help in the Torah. In Torah level, I'm trying to say Torah level prohibition, simonim just don't work. Yeah, because the face is not called simanim. The face is him. Simanim, I don't know who he is, but yeah, I know that he had a mark in his left elbow, or I know that he liked to wear the white T-shirt with some singer. Answers the Gemara, no. The Gemara now rejects that proof, that attempt to prove. It says, no, Amri, they say, no, I'm adding words to the Gemara now. Maybe, what did I tell you, for example, and I'm saying it on purpose, what did I give you as an example for a siman? A birthmark, shaped like the moon on the left elbow, right? Says the Gemara, no. Maybe such a siman would be a good siman. A real siman, high-level siman, muvak, would be a good siman from the Torah, even if Eshesish. You know why here we said that the siman of the body or siman of the clothes is not good enough? Because the Gemara over there in Yevomis talks about low-level simanim. Look at the Gemara now. Amri gufay, the orach, the guts. The siman that they have in the body is whether it's tall or short. Thank you. A lot of people are 1 meter 70, and many people 175. It's not simanim are good. That's not a siman. That's a joke of a siman, right? That's what the Brasa comes to say. Caleb. Oh, what about his favorite white T-shirt with the name of Chuchi Chuchi on the front? Maybe that's a siman. The chashin on the she'ela. No, we're concerned. Maybe in the middle of the trip, people sometimes in certain cultures, I don't know if Anglos is so common, but by some people, it's normal to lend clothes one to each other. The girls do it sometimes. Yeah. In other words, yeah, his favorite T-shirt. Yeah. Basically, in the middle of the trip, he decided to lend it to a friend. So maybe the guy you saw was another guy, another friend that you saw, and he's wearing the T-shirt. He wasn't born with the T-shirt. It's not stuck to his body, so it's not good enough of a proof. That's all. Maybe really simanim, which are good enough. The Raisa also finishes fish. The simanim you talk about, Yen simanim, they're not good enough. Correct the Gemara. Wait a second. Nah, the Gemara is going to say what we said yesterday. Wait. You're telling me now that sometimes people actually switch and swap and lend and borrow clothing garments? Yeah. Are you saying that? Oh, are you concerned about that? If so, chamor b'simone ukaf, a chamor in the how can you turn a donkey based on the simonim of the saddle of the donkey? How can you give back that saddle with the donkey based only on the simonim of the saddle only? You know the answer because we said it yesterday. And says the Gemara over there, it's different to the human being's t-shirt or pants. Pants, by the way, mean trousers. Yeah, Amri that they said ukaf lo shul inshi ukfa, and ukaf people don't lend or don't they don't like the very possessive when it comes to to actually people not possessive, not true. People don't borrow, not that they don't lend, they don't like to borrow the ukaf from other donkeys of other people. Why? Bishum the mask of leilachamra, as I told you, it hurts the back of the donkey. The donkey that's not used to this saddle that he used to, like you said yesterday, that he broke into. So the donkey of Reuven doesn't like the saddle of the donkey of the other farm of the other donkeys because it causes him maskav, like it causes him scratching and bruising, scratching even to the level of bruising sometimes. Maskav is scratching and bruising. Okay, so that's answer number one. So far again. We don't know. Don't lose. Don't. You keep your eyes on the ball. We are still in doubt. We don't know whether the simanim are the rice of the Rabanan. We saw over there by Yomi that a guy died in the river in Thailand, Lo Leinu, and you see simanim. The simanim are not good enough. That's a question. Either good simanim are not good enough because simanim are not doraisa, or maybe simanim are good enough for the Torah, but the simanim we speak about over there are low simanim. Short, tall, T-shirt, shmi shirt. He lent his T-shirt 10 times to 10 people. That's not answer. That's how we are. That's the realization we came to right now. Okay. Yeah. Question. Because of the question, I'll just repeat. I'll explain more. According to one side here in the Gemara, if enochinami the two, I think that's halacha by the way, as far as I know, but I'm not a posek. I think that's halacha. If the two friends, Yerushalayim people, came from Thailand and they said we saw him and the birthmark with a moon-shaped birthmark on the left elbow, that according to this side would be good. Yes, because we say simonim are good oraisa according to this side. Elamai only bad simonim, low level simonim not good enough. Iboy seima. Another alternative answer to explain this story, why over there we say that the kelim are not good enough. Kelav bechivri ubesumki. You know what kind of kelim we spoke about? White shirts or a red shirt. I don't know, red shirts. I don't know who wears them. Maybe communists, back in Russia. But Lamaisa, as you see, my joke is in the Gemara. You think my jokes are filled? Yeah, look, yeah. Let's say all the people in the Tiul were Haredi, Yeshiva Bochrim, wearing the white shirts, and the Siman is, you wore a white shirt. Siman, wow, that's amazing, yeah? Right? In other words, the clothes are white or red, just to say the color of the shirt is just not good enough. That's why it could be really, we're not concerned about She'ela. Could be Enochinami, we're not worried about people lending things to others, just like they don't lend the ukaf, the saddle, maybe they don't lend the shirts either. But the kind of shirt that you described can be worn by 1,000 guys, right? Torn jeans. Everybody in Tel Aviv wears torn jeans, right? So what's a chiddush torn jeans? All torn more or less the same. Yeah, so that's not a raya. It's not a proof. Ella, Hodetanya. Now back to the first answer. What did the first answer say? That we are concerned about people lending items one to the other. And therefore, if somebody wears something, even if it's a very identifiable kind of shirt with a small stain in the left-hand side, maybe lent it to somebody else. If you are concerned about that, now we have a challenge from the following brisa. It says as follows in the brisa. We're back to the house of, you know who? Mr. Shliach. Mr. Shliach is now in America, in New York, and in a week's time, he has a get that Yoel from Satmer is sending who? Rochel from Bnei Brak, yeah, also Satmer. And I'm definitely using these names, yeah, because very common names is Yoel, right? And what happens then? All of a sudden, his house is like Tachanam Kazit. His house has many people around it, in it. The house of the Shliach, Shliach Chabad. The house of the Shliach, there are many people there, and he lost the get, and then he found the get again. Oh, not so simple, right? Remember? Now it says in the get, Yosef ben Shimon divorces Rochel bas Reuven, and there are many, or at least two, Yosef ben Shimon and Rochel bas Reuven in that town, or there's more than one Yoel, something, and Rivka, something, yeah, in Satmer, yeah. So Ela Hodetanya, it says in the Brisa, Metzia kosher bekis. So 1 second. So before that, the Mishnah says in Gittin, if he found it after a long time, I'm not sure what long time is, but if a shliach lost it in a place where many people walk around, even in his house, but if his living room has the entire world over there, yeah, he found it in a place where, remember what we said, shayoros mitzuyos. There are lots of people walk in and out, and he lost the get. Ah, voila, he found it where there are 100 people every night. He found the get. We don't know if it's the get. If he found it, let's say a month later, maybe it fell from a different shaliach, and it's a different yoel and a different rochel, and therefore the get is possible. However, says the Mishnah, but so if he found his original get, or what he thinks is original get, kosher bekis, and he found it tied, the get itself was tied, bundled together, tied with a knot to a kiss or be'arnaki, different kinds of pouches or wallets, ubetabas, or let's say it was with a ring around it, or tied to a ring, ben Caleb, or he found it not in the living room where everyone's walking around like a zoo. He found it in his private area where only he has his private stuff. Kosher. Even if he found it after a long time, it's kosher. We highly assume beyond reasonable doubt that this is the same get. Why? Because it's tied to his item. Ooh, it's connected to his item. If you tell me but the guy whom we're trying to be matter to his wife, we say, although we identified the shirt, we're concerned maybe that shirt was lent from her husband who's still alive to the dead guy who's not her husband. And the fact that the dead guy is wearing the shirt doesn't mean it's her husband because it was defaced and we don't know. If you're concerned to the fact that one shirt was lent from one person to the other, if so, kosher bekis, am I kosher? Since he found it, although he found it so nicely tied to his keys, so to his wallet, yeah, why does that show anything? Maybe he lent his wallet to somebody else. Let's say it's an empty wallet. He didn't lend his credit card. Yeah, that his wife wouldn't like it. Yeah, let's say he lent what? In other words, just because item X is connected to item Y doesn't mean that they're always the same. Could be that X is mine and that's my wallet and it's my ring, but the item next to it maybe belongs to my friend because maybe I lent my wallet and even forgot about it. I lent my wallet or my ring to my friend, and his get he connected to it. He tied his get that he got from his Yol and Sarah from the other couple. Because one thing tied to the other doesn't show anything except for the chamor and the saddle, the lucky chamor. Everybody, when it comes to human beings, you tend to lend things to each other. You tell me, would you lend your wallet to other people? I don't know. Says the Gemara, Amri, they answered, not you in person, I mean you in general. Kiss, the Anaki v'tabas, loy mashali inshi. People are very wary and they tend not to lend their pouch, the wallet, and their ring. By the way, over there, ring over there was not a marriage, was a wedding ring of men. A ring over there was a signet. Yeah, signet ring, yeah, with its insignia, and that would be like his signature. Just like you will never be foolish enough to teach your signature to other people because they may sign instead of you, right? Or your bank code you won't teach to other people, right? So too, kis, arniki, and tabas, you don't lend to other people. Why not? Kis v'arniki, the pouches, lemineihem, you don't lend to other people. Mishum de misamni. Oy, 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 oy. What's misamni? You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh. And Toysa says a question, and the Rishonim has a question. Write some. It's usually by I think by Anglos more than Israelis. Sometimes kids say, or sportsmen say it all the time. That's my lucky bat. That's my lucky right. My lucky item. They believe that item, right? If they play baseball, right? Lucky bat, lucky ball. Yeah, that's the second. Anyway, apparently there's a source for it. Believe it or not, says the Gemara in Chulin that if somebody has an item such as an arnak, and that arnak, since he bought this wallet, he started having more money. So people tend to like that wallet, and they don't want their good fortune to go to other people. In other words, they believe that arnak with the money, since I bought the new wallet, wow, the stock market has been going up. I get clients all the time. I became a millionaire. My rich uncle from America died, whatever. Yeah. In other words, they all of a sudden made money. Will I lend this arnak, this wallet to other people? No way. Frek the Tosis, you're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to believe in mazel, in nichush. You're not supposed in Yiddishkeit to believe in these things. What? Superstition, right? Right? Says Tosis based on the Gemara. Tosis says something very strange with the kitzur. The Gemara answers over there in Chulin, the Gemara says like this. You're not allowed to lechatchila act upon what the astrologist is telling you, or all these lucky kind of things, or fate. In other words, I will only go out, that day, and otherwise no. But to believe b'di'evid, the Gemara says once tinok isha and bais. Let's say a person says, "What? Since I married that girl, I don't know his fourth wife, he married that girl. Since then, I became very lucky in business. Since I bought the new house, everything is lucky. Since I have this child born to me, that cutesy little one, blue eyes, that since him, everything's going well." But the evidence, it's okay to believe in that. To believe that Hashem is sending you the message, you're not acting upon it. You stand. So since the Metzia's people believe that some items are lucky, I didn't believe my eyes, but that's what it says. Mimela people tend not to lend, and Mimela, since the get of the shliach was tied to his pouch and his wallet, and these are lucky items or unlucky, whatever. So then what? He won't give it to other people, and we assume that the get tied to his wallet is his wallet, never taken out of the house, out of his possession, out of his domain, and the get also is his get that he's taking from this Yoel to this Rivka. Now, what about the ring? The tabas is more cold logic over here. First wide line, Mishum de Mezayif. Nobody with his right mind would lend his personal tabas is like your signature in the bank, your signature, everything, yeah. So your tabas, like in olden days, some people even today, their insignia, their tabas, that would be their signature. How would they lend it to another person? Signing all the checks on their behalf, forging things. Yeah, of course they won't do it. And mimela, that we say is not something you lend, and it's believed. However, your shirt, you're not so attached to your clothes. You're not so possessive about your T-shirt when you're on a trip to Thailand. People get friendly, and people in the army, I don't know. People give, you're allowed to give your madim to another soldier, whatever. So then people do that, and mimela, just because he was wearing a shirt, does not mean that it's really him. Maybe he borrowed it. Zog the Gemara, quick, 3 more minutes. Lema kitanoi. Let us say that the question, don't lose focus. What is a question still which wasn't yet answered? The question is simanim. Are they the Raisa or the Rabanan? Yeah, I don't have to elaborate. You know what that means, yeah? Lema kitanoi. Says the Gemara, you know what? Maybe it's up to Machlokes Tanoim. Listen to Machlokes Tanoim. Now we're talking about birthmark or warts. Ein me'idin ala shuma. Says the Nakama again there in Yevamis at the end, one cannot testify over a shuma even. In other words, those two guys came back from war or from the track in Nepal. And what? And they say, yeah, they tell the woman in front of Beis Din. They tell the Beis Din, we saw your husband. Unfortunately, the face was not recognized anymore. He fell off a cliff. Elamai, we saw a birthmark. We saw that little dot on his left elbow over here, Labdil. And that we know that it's him. Very nice. No, not very nice. Says Tanakama, even a shuma, even a birthmark is not good enough. Wow. How could he say that? Must be, they believe simanim are not doraisa. You have to know the actual person. A siman, only a siman that he had that birthmark or wart, specific kind of wart that stays for life. I mean, more like, yeah. that doesn't mean that it's him. The Lozer ben Mavai Omer Midin al Shuma. Lozer ben Mavai says yes, you can identify a person halachically by a mark, but let's say a birthmark, and that's good enough. Oh, my love must be welcome fligi. That seems to be the machlokes. The Tanakama Sovar Simoni the Rabbanon only. The Tanakama believes Simonim is a Rabbanon invention, Rabbanon establishment, which is very nice for money. It's good for baseball cap, for shoes, for $1 million. It's not good enough for the Doraisa of Eshes Ish. It just doesn't work. Even though it's a good simon, it's a birthmark. Simonim are never good enough for the Doraisa level, for Eshes Ish. The Lozo ben Mavoy so about Simoni Doraisa. Lozo ben Mavoy says if the two guys came back from the trip and they said, we saw that birthmark on his left elbow, yes, good. Because the Torah is the one who believes Simonim are good enough. Oh, that seems to be the machlokes between them. Shalom l'Yisrael. Omer Rove, no. Says Rove, no. I can still disengage the machlokes about birthmark, and disengage it from our question about Simonim Doraisa Rabbanon. Why? The Kula Alma Simonim Doraisa. Could be that everybody conceptually, everybody believes Simonim could be good enough for the Doraisa level. The halacha over here, the Shuma Metzia beben Giloi kamiflagi. I remember learning this in Kita Dalet, and I found it very fascinating. Apparently, according to the Gemara says that every person has a ben Giloi. There's another person in the world that was born exactly the same second as you, the same mazel, and he has exactly the same features as you. He looks exactly like you. Everybody has a twin. Okay? Everybody has a twin. Yeah, okay. So then Ben Giloi, I'd like to meet him one day. Yeah, I don't know if he's appeared, yeah. So when maybe his name's Tim McKenzie, I don't know. So Ben Giloi kamiflagi. The question is, when two people look very much alike, like twins, or like the Ben Giloi, like a stuntman, yeah. So then, do they look the same even with a shuma or not? Wow. Are they so similar that they even have the same birthmarks or not? Okay, it's a very far-fetched thing. We have to understand it. I know, Misvar, it's difficult. It's difficult to understand. One second. Let me finish it. 10:25. Yeah. What the Tanakama says, I'm so machmir. Maybe that birthmark appears by another person as well, not just by him. Another guy who looks like him and has the same birthmark. Lozo ben Mavoi says no. I don't have to be concerned because the shuma does not exist in a ben Giloi. Even if you have a twin person who is exactly identical, when it comes to the birthmarks, they're not the same. So if they saw the birthmark on the left elbow, must be that's the guy, and his wife can remarry. Yeah. Allow me 2 more lines, please, because that would finish off the Indian. I don't want to start more from the middle of something. Another alternative explanation why the two opinions, Tanakama and Lozo ben Mavoi, they don't argue about simanim doraisa Rabbanan. The kula al meshuma ein metzua beben Giloi. Really, everybody believes, like you said, a shuma does not exist in the twin. The halacha over here, b'simanim nasun lishtanus lachar misa kamiflagi. The question is, when they found the guy who was already many times, they looked for him, they searched for him, they found him, let's say a few days or a few weeks later, and maybe the simanim, that shuma may change after that, because a dead person does have obviously the vitality of a live one. So maybe the skin changes, and maybe the birthmarks also change to become more faint, darker, or not, or brighter. They're not the same as before. The Nakama says, after death, post-mortem, the simanim, the birthmarks may change. You think it's moon-shaped, really before it was star-shaped. Things change after death. A lot of things, yeah? Very good. Okay. The other one, Rav Lozo ben Mavoi says, no. We're talking here about simanim. They don't change so quickly after death, and therefore, even post-death, you can still identify the guy with his simanim and allow her to marry. But they don't argue about the general concept, whether simanim in general derives from Rabbanan. That they don't. If the person was alive, let's say, they have to identify a person who is wearing a mask all the time. I don't know. Chas v'shalom was defaced. They have to know if that's the guy. Could be all kinds of nefkamis. It was a car accident. I thought it's a shocking thing. A girl completely lost her face in an accident. They had to do like 20 surgeries on her face. Chas v'shalom. So let's say it's not identified, but we know the birthmark, but he's alive. So then could be anything we would say it's all good. It's all the right is valid. We don't know. We still remain in the question. Thank you very much. We have a month full of simcha, tzlocha, never anybody missing tefillah. But they find the missing kid very quickly.